What's going on, YouTube? Q back here again with another video for you. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 cars that I want to buy, but I can't because they suck on YouTube. So I'm a huge car fanatic. Like, I'm not loyal to any brand, loyal to any car. Like, I'll switch up a car at any given moment. So I like a ton of cars, and I wrote a list a long time ago. It was like 10 cars that I wanted. I got most of those cars on that list, minus like a 911. And a Buick Regal GS, but kind of don't want that anymore. But there's some more cars that I do want, but I'm afraid if I buy them, they would suck for YouTube, so it wouldn't make good business sense to do so. So if you like content like that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel. Let's jump into today's video. Alright, so let's get started with the list. And this is not in any particular order, but this first one, though, that would be the one that I would get first and want the most, but I don't think it would perform well on YouTube. And that is the first gen Audi R8. So the Audi R8s, they're in a weird place. They're like Audi's Halo car, but it's the twin of the Lamborghini Huracan, or is it the Gallardo too? Not sure, but definitely the Huracan for the second generation. And what I like most about the Audi R8, the style. It has a manual, it's a gated manual at that, and it has a V10. I'll take a V8 too. I think it's one of the most beautiful cars designed of all time. And every time I see one, it just makes my heart drop. That car is a showstopper. That's my wife's favorite car. I want one of those really bad. They're a little bit outdated nowadays because a lot of other cars outperform them. And then they're also all-wheel drive too, and I love manual all-wheel drive cars. It's one of the first cars that had LED daytime running headlights. Like, I just love everything about the R8, but it gets overshadowed by its bigger brother, the Huracan, like the Lamborghinis. So it's hard to make a business case to get one of those because they were at like 60 grand to like maybe 120 for the V10. It's not a lot of people searching for R8s, and not a lot of people will follow that content. A lot of people will follow the Lamborghinis, like even the Gallardo, because it's a Lamborghini, and people just search Lambo. It's a very searchable car, but for the R8, not so much. And it's a luxury car too. It's more luxury. It's more tame. Like, I love that car. That car is me all the way. But Tony Stark had one too. Love that. Those cars aren't that searchable. So that's why it would suck to get one for YouTube. Awesome car, but the audience just isn't there. So the number 2 car, and this is a car that I want to buy like today, or at least order one. Like, if I wasn't doing YouTube at all, I would have one of these cars, and it spans across a couple generations. So the car I'm talking about, and it's brand new right now too. Like, I would love to have this car. And I have a similar car on order, but it's not the same. See, I love sedans, especially manual sedans, and wagons for that matter. So let me just go ahead and say it. The CTS-V or the CT5V Blackwing. Like, I just love those cars. The General Motors sedans, like since the 96 Impalas, even the ATS-V, but not so much because it doesn't have the V8. So there is not really, I don't think there's any mid-size luxury sedan that you can get with the manual today. And that Blackwing is going to be probably the last manual V8. And it's supercharged. It does everything. They improved the interior on it. It performs. It's rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual. This car just does everything. Like 668 horsepower. Like, if I didn't do YouTube at all, I would have to have that car. And every time one of these cars are around, I always miss out. But now is the time. But I can't make it make business sense. And I would personally get the CT5V Blackwing or the CTS-V wagon. That wagon is very expensive. And the CT5V Blackwing, Cadillac messed up when they changed the name. They just need to go back to regular names. But now, since if it was also called the CTS-V Blackwing, that would show up in the CTS-V searches. But now it's the CT5V Blackwing. That'll kind of just cut the search. Like, people might accidentally look for a previous generation CTS-V and stumble upon mine if I had one. But now, since it's only a CT5V, that kind of limits the search to a much smaller audience, and that's the reason why it would suck to get a CT5V Blackwing for YouTube. So the number 3 car on my list that sucks for YouTube that I really want is the Jaguar F-Type. And this car comes in all flavors, 4, 6, 8 cylinders. I think the 4 is turbocharged, the 6 and the 8 are supercharged. I would be caught in the pickle between which one I would want, because y'all know I like driving manuals. The V6 comes with the manual, and I actually drove one of those. Well, not with the manual though, but that's the car I want. But the Jaguar F-Type R, it comes with a supercharged V8 with like 550 or 580 horsepower. I'm mixing up with the SVR. But that car has all-wheel drive, supercharged V8. It looks amazing. I think it's one of the best cars designed of all time. It makes great noises, and it's just an animal. Very heavy to be so small, but I'm torn between which one I would get. I would probably get the automatic. As much as I don't want an automatic, I'll probably go with the V8 and get that thing in the automatic. But even the V6 sounds really good. Like those and the newer ones. The newest one, I don't want the newest one. I want the previous gen that came out. But they kind of made the newer one tame. But the previous gen, that car in 6 and 8 cylinder form, I like that car a whole lot. I still might get one of those cars just for myself, just because it doesn't break the bank. Oh my God, the leaf scared me on the window. And then they're not a reliable brand. That's where I'm torn at. Like, I love Jags, but they're not that reliable. They're partnered with Land Rover, and Land Rover isn't reliable at all. So it would be a high maintenance car, but that would be one of, I don't know. I'm just torn between it. But I also don't think the audience is that big. A beautiful car, but there's other cars out there that people are looking for. Like, I think like sports coupes, like, you got to go against the Corvette. You got to go against the AMG GT. Oh, 911s. Like, yeah, this got some stiff competition. I don't think a lot of people are looking for those. I see a few YouTubers with them, but their channels are smaller. So, I don't know. You might see one of those in the future on this channel. I don't know. Really want that car, but I don't think it would perform well. So, let's move on to the next car. So, the next car on this list is a car. I had a form of this car in the past. The one that I had was a Pontiac G8 GT, but they also make a newer version which came out in 2014, which is the Chevy SS. And that car doesn't look as good as its Australian brother, the Holden whatever, the Chevy SS with the Holden badges. That car, I was very close to getting one brand new, because in this last year, the 2018 models, GM had a sale 20% off. So the sticker, those cars come fully loaded. I think the only thing you can get is like a sunroof, maybe nav on that car. So they sticker like 47, 48, close to 50K. With the 20% off discount, they were 40K. And those cars are still commanding that same dollar today, like close to 50K. I've seen some for like 60 and 70K in this market, which I would never do. But that car, manual sedans are like my favorite car, and I just need that car. But reasons where it won't do so well on YouTube, it was a pretty limited car. I think they limited it to like 2,000 models per year, or 2,000 units per year. And then there's another car, its biggest competitor, the Charger. The Charger outsells that. Just the Demon probably outsold the Chevy SS. But this car, they didn't sell a lot of them, and there's not that many on the internet. And then you got the Hellcat, so it's going to be overshadowed. But I still think it's a phenomenal car. But it falls in the same trap as the Cadillacs, the CTS-V or CT5V. Like, and then they messed up with the name on this one. GM is on something. I don't know what they're doing with that, but the Chevy SS, the SS denotes a trim level. They named the whole car an SS, and I tried to explain this to people, and it's kind of difficult. So imagine pulling up to somebody saying, I drive a Chevy SS. They're going to be like, an SS what? Camaro? A Cobalt? HHR? Like, what SS is it? And you say, no, it's a SS. And you'll be like, here it is. And then they'll be like, is that a Malibu? And you'll be like, man. So yeah, this is not the best looking car, but it drives phenomenally. I test drove one and I just loved it. And shortly after I test drove it, that's when I bought my Camaro. So I like that car a lot. Phenomenal car, but another car that just wouldn't do well. So this is about to bring me to the last car, and I got a couple honorable mentions. The honorable mention would be a Lexus GSF. So this Lexus, it's reliable, 5-liter V8. It revs pretty high, makes great sounds. It's an automatic, which breaks my heart, but I just don't think there's a huge demand for it. And then they discontinued it too. They kept the LS and the IS, but they killed off the GS. So my final car on the list, and this spans many generations of this car, and the first generation of this car is one of my favorite cars of all time, and that is the BMW M5. The E28 is one of my favorite cars. Like, if I had, I got to get one of those cars one day. But I also own the E34. I have a 535, not an M5. I like that generation. I did own the E39 M5, the one with the V10, the M60. Love those from a distance, but I'm not trying to pay that maintenance. And then I love the one after that, the I forgot what it's called. And then the new generation with the all-wheel drive. That car is stupid fast. But the M5's biggest competition for YouTube would be his little brother and youngest brother, the M2 and the M3 and the M4. They got so many M cars. So the M5 has kind of priced itself into the old man territory, where people just aren't as excited about them, and they're kind of in the realm of being unobtainable for the new ones. But the older ones, they're exciting. Like, they drive really well, but the audiences are on the M3s and not the M5. So it's a lot more eyes on the M3. They're more obtainable than the M5. They're more exciting, and the M5 focuses more on luxury, especially in the newer iterations of it, as opposed to the older ones, where I think it stopped at the E39, where it was more of a driver's car, and that one had the V8. That was the first one with the V8. E34 had the inline 6. But yeah, M5s, I love those. Also M6 too. The M6 Grand Coupe, I like those a lot. And I saw a Beamer fam, they got one, a manual M6 Grand Coupe, which is a very rare car. But also, who's going to be searching that? So the thing with YouTube, you have to get cars, especially starting out like me. Like, my channel is new, don't have a ton of subscribers yet. So you have to get the eyes on the channel. You got to get what the people are buying or people are searching. So cars that people search: Mustangs, M3s, Civics, Camaros, Hellcats, Scat Packs, Corvettes, all those types of cars. That's where the eyes are. And if you want yours to get seen, you got to be in this realm. So maybe if you have a niche audience, you can get these cars on this list that I did mention. But if you're trying to grow a channel faster, you will have a more difficult time. Unless you have a great personality, you know. People just come for the personality. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to suck people into a car that you're not really that interested in. So yeah, that's what it is, folks. So let me know what you guys think would be a car that you love but just wouldn't do well on YouTube. So that's I think I named like 7 cars. So let me know what you think down in the comment section. So if you haven't yet already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below, browse it, got a bunch of other car content. So with that being said, I'm going to check you all out on the next video. Peace out.